What is going on, beautiful people? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another episode of I Have No Idea What's Going On With My Life. I'm your host, Damdaved, and today we got some work to do. Roll that intro, baby.
They call me yellow cause the paint is banana, the clip is banana, I'm going bananas. Look, boy, you a bitch. Get your funds together. Look at them. Didn't fuck with us when we was down. Now we coming up together. You can stay in the back cause all up on track, we running it up together. You said we would flop, now the gang at the top, and we don't give a fuck together.
Welcome back to another episode of The Daytona is Dirty as Shit, and I have no idea what I'm going to do today. I just got done working my 9 to 5, you know what I'm saying? It's a good like 5 o'clock in 3 minutes right now, so I just got out the shower, you know what I'm saying? I just got off work. I'm a little bit tired, but I'm trying to spice it up for you guys, and today we got some stuff to go over. I figured I'd answer a popular question that I get as opposed to doing some kind of crazy video because I don't really have a lot of time yet during the week to set up a crazy video idea for you guys, but right now, I got a couple things to do to the car. I gotta peel the MODDED banner off. I don't want to take it off, you know, MODDED, that's my shop, you know what I'm saying, but my windshield wiper blades are actually peeling the banner up. There's a couple little damaged places on the banner right here where the windshield wipers hit it, and you know what, it's giving my OCD a heart attack, so it's time for that thing to go. We're either gonna replace it or end up doing something else, but no matter what, I'm still gonna rep MODDED. I got it somewhere else on my car right now. Anyway, I got a little sticker over here, so MODDED, you don't worry if you're watching this, you're still good to go on my car, baby. But as you can see from the traction video, if you guys didn't see it, I got a little bit of egg on the plastic parts on my car. Don't worry, I got it off the paint. Trust me, I know what egg does to your car. We washed it off as good as we could. That's why the hood, you can tell we washed here with our hands, and then the rest is just kind of dirty. But on the plastic and on the wrap, I got some egg. Hopefully it's not permanent damage. I don't know, but worst case scenario, you know, we can scrape it off or replace it. So I'm gonna rip this banner off real quick, and then I'm gonna find time here in a minute to start talking about what we got to talk about today, since you know what, today is bland commentary, you know what I'm saying? But I guess you know, it'll be a good video all in all because I'll be able to answer a couple of you guys' popular questions about my daddy money. Oh my god. Oh wow, that's coming off surprisingly easy. Oh my god. Am I gonna be able to see when I stop at stoplights now? Oh my god, look how clean my windshield is. I don't think I've ever seen my windshield that clean. This hurts my heart, man. I've had this thing on here for months. I almost want to preserve it. That thing is on there, man. Oh, look at that little clean strip. Let's go find a place to mount it. My pants are falling. My home gym. I am definitely going to die trying to do this. Oh, shit. Woo! Let's get out of here, baby. Oh, shit, I ran into the fence. Let's get out of here. Is this thing on? Okay, let's talk about it. So I just went to go get my car cleaned. I was gonna film the video there, but scratch that. It is hot as hell. I found this, you know, nice little location. We got some trees, we got some shade. It's gonna be much greater to talk. You know, I'm sweating under my man boobies, and I'm just kidding. I don't have man boobies. I don't think. Do you guys think I got man boobs? Comment down below. Anyway, I'm gonna break this up into sections because it is not one simple answer. There's usually a few things that go into it, and I'll just tell you right off the bat. I didn't invest in Bitcoin, okay? You know what I'm saying? I don't have a mommy or a daddy that are like super rich or anything like that. Usually that's the case, okay? If somebody's telling you, oh, I got a Hellcat at 18, okay, let me just tell you something, okay, about financing a car and buying a car and whatever, okay? Unless you're Pablo Escobar, all right, you need credit to buy a car, and nobody saved up their money real hard and bought a car like this, okay? It usually had some outside help, and big disclaimer, I had some outside help, okay? Not cash-wise, but we're gonna get into that in a second. I know, big scandalous. I did pay for this car myself, but I did have a little bit of help, credit-wise, etc. We're gonna get into that. So the first thing is, nobody's honest on YouTube, okay? I see a lot of videos where everybody's like, I got this car at 18 because I did this, and you know what I'm saying, I sold drugs, and you know what I'm saying, I invested in Bitcoin and all of that stuff. That's all bullshit, okay? If somebody's telling you that they went out and did that, it's horseshit. I hope you guys can respect what I'm saying here, you know, as far as, you know, me telling you the truth versus just telling you some bullshit like, oh, I just straight up just went out and bought this car because it's so damn easy. Let me tell you, it's not. Break this down from an adult perspective, because I know I got a lot of kids on here that are like, I want one of these when I get older, and I get a lot of it in my DMs. It's my most asked question is, how do you afford this car? So let's break it down. Where do you live? And what is your cost of living? Okay, that's a big one. Next one is, where do you work? How much do you make? Okay, we'll go over that in a second. The third one is, what is your insurance going to be like, and what is your criminal history? I probably got the worst possible outcome there is for having criminal history as far as speeding tickets, etc. And there's no reason that I should be able to afford this car, but I have a magic key. Just wait, I'm going to get into it. So let's go ahead and start it from the very beginning as far as my purchases in cars go, and it'll make a little bit more sense. We'll start from when I was a little baby and I first popped out of the vagina. No, I'm just kidding, I'm kidding. We're not going to start there. Where we are going to start is around the time I got my first vehicle. I was in high school. What was I doing in high school? Pretty much nothing. Working odd jobs, hardware store, etc. Stuff like that, okay? But what I did have on my side is, ever since I was about 13 years old, I went to go live with my grandparents, okay? Now, grandparents are typically rich, okay? But my grandparents, here's the thing. I love my grandparents to death. They saved my life. I don't have a mom or a dad. Just so you guys know, I'm not getting into it. I don't want a bunch of sympathy or whatever. They're deceased. Okay, so let's go ahead and get that out of the way. My grandparents, they have money, but they believe in work ethic, as you should, and they've never given me just anything. Okay, you got to work for stuff. But with that being said, there's a little bit of help that goes into it, that if I didn't have it, I shouldn't have this car. There's a lot of reasons I shouldn't have this car, but we're gonna go over that in a second. So first off, working at the hardware store, working at the grocery store is not any kind of money whatsoever, okay? But I got a red 2013 or 2012 F-150, which at the time was pretty damn new, and I got it for a great deal. Why? Because I couldn't have done it myself, but my grandpa has connections, and this guy knows people from car dealers and stuff, and it was at a Ford dealership local to me where he knew a guy that worked there and had bought a few vehicles from him. He got a great price from him considering he used to work with him, yada yada yada. Point is, my grandpa bought this truck from me when I was in high school, and I made regular payments on it, and he paid the insurance. Big shocker, right? Let me tell you something. If somebody's going to be honest with you, they're going to say that they had some help. And I had some help. I avoid the question because it's not a simple answer, but hopefully this video is going to be long and detailed and able to give you all of the information you're going to need forever. I hope you guys are following me. I repeat myself and I ramble. I'm so sorry. This is going to be a shitty ass video, but hopefully we won't have to remake it, and whatever questions you guys have, you could just comment them down below. He paid the insurance. He paid for this truck. I was on the insurance. I made regular payments on the truck, and I was in high school, okay? All I did was just small little jobs. There's not much you can do in high school. If you think you can just go finance a badass car when you're in high school, not the case. If somebody's pulling up to your high school in a badass whip, they got that daddy money. They got that ching, 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 ching. But I had a pretty new truck, and a lot of people thought that from me, and they were technically right. Yeah, if my insurance wasn't paid and he didn't buy the truck and finance it and whatever, then I wouldn't have been able to have a vehicle, let alone a new one. So yeah, I could have had a used vehicle, but this is where that vehicle gave me my advantage. My grandpa's idea, okay, he's an old head, you know what I'm saying? He's an older white guy. His idea, bless his heart, I love my grandpa. He's the best person on this planet. He's the reason I'm still alive today, and so is my grandma. But he believed that if I got a new truck, it'd be better because it's newer, it's able to resell, it would give me an opportunity to learn how to drive right and all this stuff, and that's the time I was learning how to get my license, and long, complicated thing. But never buy your child a brand new vehicle, because what I went out and did is I went out and I wrecked that truck, okay? I'm not going to talk about it, okay? It was an accident. It was raining. I was speeding a little bit over, you know what I'm saying? I tried to make a turn and boom. I doubt I have any pictures of it. If I can find some, I'll pop them up on the screen. But it was a pretty bad wreck, okay? I kind of got toasted. Well, around that time, I started getting into vehicles more, okay? Right as I was coming out of high school, and I was like, oh my God, what do I want here? I did what every kid who loves cars does. I went out on Car Gurus and I was looking up Challengers. Woo! I was looking up Hemi Challenger, RT. I'm like, oh, I could get the V6, it's cheaper. What are we doing here, okay? Because the insurance payout from that car getting wrecked, it had gap insurance, so I got a payout of like, you know, what was it, $20,000 or so, okay? Again, that's my grandpa. I'm not out here calling shots and making money moves and balling out here in high school. And my grandpa decided, hey man, we need to get you a new car, figure out what you want, and we're gonna use that insurance money to pay it, okay? And then you're gonna make payments as if you bought that vehicle, but whatever you buy here, we can't finance it. It's gonna be paid with the cash from this insurance, and it can't be above $15,000. We agreed that we were gonna get me a car, okay? It couldn't be a Challenger, it was too rough on insurance, it was 2 doors, and I kind of fell in love with the Charger. So what do? We went and we purchased a Dodge Charger SE, okay? This one was fully in my name for the first time because we were both on the truck loan, so that was able to like kind of boost me a little bit, just enough to buy this used Charger, which was about, you know, it was almost 20,000. It was a little bit over the 15 agreed, but it was like 18 and some change. It was a 15 initial down, and I paid my way to like 18, 19 or so while I was able to finance it. In that time period, I had started working at a dealership. Look who was cruising through the middle of the town. My boy Alex, man. You guys know Alex, my cameraman. He's been busy as hell lately, but he's back on the channel, and you know what? He came by and he's agreed to help me record. He was just getting off work and shit. So welcome back to the channel. Surprise appearance from Alex. But I'm just gonna talk and finish my story up, but Alex is gonna record. So would you like to take this camera? Sir. Thank you, sir. All right, this is better, this is cooler, okay. But anyway, picking the story up where I left off. So I started working at this dealership. I had the Charger SE. Oh, it had a little bit of performance mods. It wasn't, we're just not gonna even include that. Yeah, long story. That car was a piece of shit. I did end up paying it off pretty quickly. A lot of people will tell you on YouTube, oh, you don't have to be making, well, you can just work at Walmart and save up all your money, and then you're just gonna be able to buy a Hellcat if you work real hard. Well, that's not the case, okay? It's a bunch of horse shit. Like I said, there's usually some kind of kicker. Well, I had this car paid off. Let me tell you how you afford a car like this, okay? You have to make a shit ton of money, okay? That doesn't happen easily. There's a reason I still don't work at a dealership. It's a pain in the ass job. But I'll tell you what, it was pretty damn profitable when I first, you know, came out of high school. You know, you're making $3 to $4, even $5, or on the off months, you make like $6,000 or $7,000 a month around Christmas if you're doing really well. Now, it's a thing. It's like you put in as much work as like you want to get paid. So like you could slack off all day and not make shit, and you might as well work at Walmart or get fired. But also you could make a killing over there. So it's not a longevity job. Some people like it. I ended up hating it, long story. But while I was working there, I started making a good amount of money. I was a Hyundai salesman, okay? Which that means that you get your regular money, you get your spiff money, depends on what dealership you work at, and then you make Hyundai points. And you make a shit ton of money selling Hyundais, okay? I don't care that they're little Korean cars. A lot of people just tell you like, oh, you gotta sell like badass Corvettes and shit. I was making more money than the guys working over at Chevrolet, okay? And if you guys are watching this and you're like, hey, that's the guy I used to work with, I kicked your ass, admit it, okay? I was a badass salesman. I made a good amount of money at that dealership, and I decided, you know what I'm gonna do? I want to trade this V6 Charger in, and I want to get me a badass Genesis. My next car was a 4-door sedan. It was the first year that Genesis came out, and I was like, you know what, I bought it right off the showroom floor. 2 things. I was a dealer, so I was able to finesse like the hell out of that deal, and also my used car manager, I was able to finesse his ass because I traded in my Charger at the same dealership I worked at and bought the car at. So I got a great deal on that car. But here's the kicker. After like 4 months of owning the Genesis sedan, I decided I don't really want this 3.8 liter V6 luxury that everybody told me that it was so badass. Like, it's not a super expensive car, but it's pretty expensive. Like, you know, like I was able to get that car for around like $38,000, which at that time was like the most expensive car or anything I've ever had. But I had it for about 4 months, and I was looking at some American muscle. I was nearing 19 at this point, and I was still living with my grandparents. Okay, that's the big thing. You gotta think about your living arrangements. If you're out living on your own and around like 18 and shit, there's no way. okay? It's a lot of money to move out. I did have my own share of bills and things like that, but it was like a pay to like stay there a little bit. It's complicated. I only paid a few bills where I was living, so I was able to make the extra jump and just go ahead and purchase this vehicle right here. My payments were high at first. I refinanced this car. I was paying like $800 a month. That wasn't even including insurance. Then again, I was on a policy with my grandparents. Like everybody will tell you, oh, it's so easy, you can just get on a policy by yourself. Hey, they're lying to you, okay? If you got a Hellcat at 18, you're on an insurance policy with somebody, okay? So that's how it started. I refinanced the car and I got on insurance by myself because, sad to say, I got kicked off of my insurance, okay? I had to be on a policy by myself because your boy got them speeding tickets. By the way, if you want something like this, start driving good now because they're gonna kick your ass when the insurance comes around. I had to go get my own insurance. It drove the payment up, but it's okay because I was making a fair amount of money at the dealership. And then my car payment, I was still able to afford with the money I was making at the dealership. And then my other bills, miscellaneous stuff, I was still living over there, so I was good. Here's what screwed me up. A few months after I bought this car, I wanna say maybe 6 months or so, I was fired from the dealership. A month before that, I had decided, okay, I've taken on a whole new set of bills. Since I refinanced my car and I've decided I'm gonna live on my own, I had got an apartment with somebody I was with at the time, I got fired. Sorry, the bank just called. They told me that I'm 800 days delinquent on this car and that they're finally gonna find me with the force of the FBI. They haven't been able to successfully repo my car yet, and now they're coming to get me, so we gotta wrap this up. I had taken on everything on my own and decided I was gonna move out, and I got fired from the dealership. My pride is pretty high, and I decided not to go back home. I was barely making any money, okay? I went from selling door-to-door, AT&T, DirecTV, you name it, okay? Trying to bounce from dealership to dealership, trying to sell stuff door-to-door. I was doing what I could to have an apartment and pay my stuff. It was very complicated. I had my daughter around that time. That was so expensive. And it was pretty rocky, okay? The reason I don't talk about this a lot is because it's not as simple, how do you afford this car? It's not one thing. It's like a few things that go into play that like all have to come together. With that being said, I did what I could, okay, to try to afford this car, right? Point is, a lot of complicated stuff was going on in my life. I wasn't in a position where I could afford shit. If you guys watched my How I Saved My Life in 2019 video, I talk about a little bit of my past life and stuff. If you really want to get to know me and know some details about me, that's what happened, okay? I was living in my car a lot, rocky relationship. I was kind of like out of my apartment, in and out. Very long story, okay? A lot was going on. Point is, I was barely making my car payment, barely making my insurance. It's not easy to afford a car like this unless you live in it, which I don't recommend you do, which is what I call going car broke. I would have much rather had an RT and things like that other than to have this car, but I didn't want to, one, take the hit on my credit. Two, I was attached to this car. I felt like it made me somebody and I couldn't get rid of it because then my whole life would be trashed because I wouldn't have a nice car anymore. And then my pride was too high. I couldn't get rid of the car, and I'm like, I gotta live in it, I gotta do what I gotta do. Around this time, I heard about We Are Mopar, okay? I spent every last dollar I had to go to We Are Mopar. I was delinquent on my car payment by like 2 months. Complicated time. I spent every dollar I had to go out to Dallas, and that's when I learned about sponsors and all of that stuff and Instagram, and I had started a little page for this car, which if you look back far enough, you'll be able to see when I was working at the dealership versus like a lot of random places where the car was. It's like the jobs I was at and other stuff like that, and trying to hustle, and like the car didn't have any gas, it was parked in one spot. I was living in it. Like my Instagram, like there's a little Easter eggs you can find down there which tells a story. Basically, it sucked. I learned how to get myself out there. You can find sponsors and stuff like that will help you make a little bit of money. It's not very profitable, but you'd be surprised how a few $100s a month, it goes a very long way. I'm not saying buy a nice car and just think it's gonna make you money right off the bat. It's taken me a very long time to make even a little bit at doing it. But at the beginning, I was kind of popping. I was trying to do some stuff, and it helped me a lot. And I have you guys to thank for that. I don't know if the people that were around that time are still subscribed to my YouTube or whatever, but that's how it goes. YouTube hasn't really made me shit. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I'm not a big YouTuber. This isn't a big channel. Anybody that has this amount of subscribers and tells you they're balling from YouTube, they're most likely a liar, okay? But Instagram did help me a lot. I learned how to make a little bit of money online. I was you know, selling some merch, doing some other things, and it helped me to kind of like, there's a lot of times I should have lost this car. There's a few times I should have gave it up, but I didn't, and that's why it's still here, and it's gonna be hard for me to let it go, but I've been thinking about it because I am doing better now. I have a great job now, okay? It actually saved my life. I talk about it in that video. I started by making $12.50 an hour. Once I had done all these odd jobs and I was trying to get situated, I moved back into an apartment by myself. I was like in an apartment with my girlfriend at the time, or I was homeless. That's like how I was living. I never went back home or anything like that. Very complicated. Point is, I have been able to do so much with this job now, and that's why I've also decided to come back and start making content. This job allowed me to not only start paying on this car again, because I'll set the time, okay? I was like the third or fourth employee there. It was a small company. I started making $12.50. Now I make more, a lot more. I'm very invested in the company. I was like an OG there, and that job not only saved my life from a very dark place of me like living in this car, etc. It helped me get on my feet, and now I'm making a good amount of money in there, and I don't know how much longer I'll be. This is what I want to do for my career, just so you guys know. I want to video create and do all this stuff, and that's why I'm working with the traction team. We're doing a lot right now, and this is where my future is going to go. But as of right now, and as a couple years ago, I started this job. It has helped me do so much for my age, and that is pay this car. When the motor blew, it allowed me to have money and cash to, you know, both pay on the motor, because I did finance this motor rebuild. Okay, I'm not a baller. Don't let me lie to you and say that I just paid this with cash. I had to go to the bank. I had to get a loan. At the time, this job has allowed me to fully pay this car off by now, which is insane, but I got lucky, okay? Let me just tell you, without getting lucky or finding a really great job, you're not gonna be able to do something like that. But the amount I had to pay on this car was less than how much it was gonna cost to rebuild the motor, which ended up being about $13,000. I owed a little bit less on the car at this time because when I had sold the Genesis, it was fairly new, and I got a lot of equity rolled into it because I had the paid off Charger I could roll into the Genesis to roll into this car, if that makes sense. I got an okay deal at this car, but it was about like 31 or right at around $30,000 I had to pay on this car. So I paid for it for a little bit, and it had gotten to the point where now the car was paid down to where it was going to be less to finance, less money to pay the car off before the motor. So I went ahead and I paid the car off. It took a hit out of me. Okay, it was a big pain in my ass, but I did get a loan to finance a motor. That's just now been paid off. But with this job, I got lucky, okay? It saved my life, and it has helped me and allowed me to prosper. I don't know if the people at work even watch this shit, but if they do, you guys saved my ass. It's paid for this car. I've also got a truck. It's also allowed me to do a lot of other stuff, and now I can create content, and I got more free time, and I got more money. But getting to this point has not been easy. And now I'm in the position where I think I might be able to sell this car and move into a new car because I want to switch it up. I want to do something new. I've had this car since 2017, but at the same time, it's very sentimental to me. I've done a lot in this car, and there's still a lot of videos I want to make with it before it's gone, so you might just see this car stick around for quite a while. With that being said, I do have liability insurance on this car. It's paid off, for one. For two, it's been in a wreck. For three, the motor's rebuilt. So if it gets in a wreck, it's not like insurance is gonna be like, oh, let's help you anyway. So I went ahead and did liability. The car's not gonna wreck, you know, it's not gonna wreck, and it's gonna be okay. And it's allowed me to catch up on my bills for one, but also have less to pay on insurance, which is a bitch. And that's also why I'm worried about moving into a new car right now, because the car's paid off. Say I do make a decent amount of money from the car being sold, I'm not going to be able to get what I want and go back to paying full insurance right now at this moment. Because if you're wondering about my living arrangements now, I ended up going back home. It was a long story, okay? I did a lot of odd jobs. I was out on my own for a long time, but my pride, I eventually put it to the side. I needed help mentally and a few other things, and I don't want to get into that right now, but point is, I ended up going back there. My grandparents are there, you know, 50-50. They travel a lot, but I don't also mind living with them. I have a paid living arrangement, which means I pay rent for the house because I eventually plan to one day own it. It's their house paid off. They're planning to move here soon and things like that. Point is, if I didn't have the initial boost and having help with the truck, having help with, you know, some credit stuff. You can't just go out and just your first car buy all on the credit on your own unless it's like a really like, you know, beginner level car. So I did have help there. I did have help with my living arrangements because ever since I was like 13 years old or so, I came to live over here, and my grandparents are some of the only family that I have left. So if you want to know the secret, it's that maybe not everything's paid for you, it's that you have some help, okay? You guys have watched me do a lot on this channel. You guys have watched me grow up. A lot of my older videos, if you want to fact check me, you can go back through my older videos and you can see a time where I was like kind of, you know, making videos at my house and also living in my car in Galveston and doing different stuff. And you can go back through and find videos of me at my apartment. Point is, it's not a simple answer as of how you could afford this car. But the point is, it is possible. But if you don't have any help whatsoever, then it's going to be very hard for you if it's possible at all. And big shocker, I had a little bit of help, not cash-wise, but also, you know, I'm saying, I guess you could say that with my first vehicle and having just that kind of boost. If you're surprised, you know what I'm saying, if you can't respect me, then cool, but respect me for being honest, because that's the way it is. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you guys and say that, oh, you could just go out and I invested in Bitcoin and I started a condom company and you know what I'm saying, like, that shit doesn't happen. You just can't do it, okay? It's almost impossible, and it seems like when kids are getting like, as generations go on, it's harder for kids to make money, and I know the whole boomer thing or whatever, but it seems like it's hard as shit, and kids are moving out at like 25 now, so I do have a paid living arrangement, which helps me do what I do, which works out for me anyway. I plan to own that house one day. It's gonna work out for me in the long run. Even though I pay for stuff like it would be a house, I still know the people who rent it to me and stuff, which allows me to have help and, you know, having the initial boost and just little shit like that. If you didn't have those little things, it'd be pretty damn hard. So that's my secret. My good job now allows me to do what I'm doing here, and then hopefully there's longevity in this because I'm working real hard at it. But with that being said, that's pretty much my secret, and I feel like I've repeated myself enough. I feel like I've rambled enough. If you guys have any questions, be sure to drop them down in the comments because I know I didn't cover anything. If you're around my age or younger or whatever, you're trying to do something like this, I'll give you the best advice I can, but this is my most asked question, and this is the honest truth about how everything's been able to go down. We're here today. If you got questions, be sure to ask me or hit me up on Instagram. Make sure you guys go follow the Traction Instagram and stuff like that, and make sure you go subscribe to the Traction channel. If you want me to have some longevity and be able to do this, and you want more content, and you want me to kind of go full time in this, because you know things is starting to take off, and we're gonna be having a good time over here, and there's gonna be plenty of content for you guys here and over there. This is where I see my future. But as to this point and how I've been able to get here, hopefully you guys have a pretty good understanding. But with that being said, we're gonna go ahead and wrap this video up. It's probably a long one, but I appreciate you guys listening to my rambling. Hopefully this is the last time I ever got to make one of these how I afford stuff videos. This is my first and last one. But anyway, if you guys are new to the channel, be sure you drop that subscribe button and support me and show me some love over here. We're almost 5K strong. We're damn close. I think we're about 100 away right now as I'm talking. And if you guys thought this video was awesome, you know, be sure to smash that like button. If you want to stick around the next crazy ass one, be sure to hit that red rectangle. And if you thought this content was sexy, you know what I'm saying, you like my commentary, then be sure to drop that damn purple pickle in the comments, that eggplant. So I will see you guys in the next one. As always, I love you guys. Peace.